Now, the Kenyan delegation to China, led by President Uhuru Kenyatta, has failed to secure funding for the second phase of the SGR, putting the Nairobi-Malaba leg of the Standard Gauge Railway project in jeopardy. The public concern, nonetheless, has been that the increased uptake of commercial loans may plunge the country into a debt crisis. Here's KUTV's Josephine Grace.
The issue of the blooming debt in the country has left tongues wagging as Kenyans face the possibility of a debt crisis if the government can't repay what it owes to China and the World Bank. The failure by the Kenyan government to secure a loan for the extension of the SGR railway to Kisumu port being an indication that all is not well. Worst case scenario, Kenyans might be forced to cede control of its strategic national assets to foreign creditors like the Port of Mombasa, Kenya Airways, Kenya Power, which have been used as collaterals. However, according to economic expert Stephen Jaramba, borrowing for purposes of revenue creation is safe for the economic status of a country as long as we get value for money.
Of course, the government itself has not come clear towards that, whether that is the case. But if the loan works, we have nothing to worry about.
Well, that report by
that is, if the loan that has been acquired by use of Port of Mombasa as a security, it works. It is able to service its own loan. Like, of course, what is happening to SGR, the transport has improved. The cost of transport has actually gone down. The investment have increased. Of course, with all the worries about the employment, that is more towards China than to our Kenya, but we must admit that it has actually worked, something positive to our country.
The country's appetite for loans has been an issue of concern, especially when the opposition has been seen to rubber stamp almost every move by the government. This evident when opposition leader Raila Odinga went to China to solicit more funds for the extension of the SGR railway.
The time we were living, we awarded it at $227 billion shillings. They retendered it and awarded it at 350 billion shillings. So it is just the cost of it, and because all that has to be paid by the taxpayer. That is the only problem we have.
President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration has been contracting short-term domestic debt since September 2014 to build economic growth in enhancing roads, bridges, power plants, and the standard gauge railway. Jaramba warns that the country's debt situation is nearing a crisis level as resources to service these loans are thinning.
The government, the possibility of a country becoming bankrupt is of course almost impossible. Almost impossible. Of course, what can happen if you consider bankruptcy to be equal to probably a financial crisis, then that's possible. And remember, financial crisis arises in a situation where you're not able to service a loan.
2017 will be remembered as the time Kenya's public debt nearly touched unsafe levels after crossing the 4 trillion shillings mark in March. From as low as 2.5 trillion shillings in December 2014, Kenyans owe the world a massive 5.7 trillion. This is set tip over 7 trillion shillings in 2020, an unfortunate development that might see critical projects sacrificed as a huge chunk of revenue goes towards debt repayment. The big question, however, remains on whether Kenyans are getting a value for money or the many cases of corruption are eating into Kenyans' pockets. Grace Josephine, KUTV.